Hi guys, welcome to the YW. Thanks for being here. My name is Leanne. I'm with the STAT team. I do community outreach and education. So this week we were talking about members of Congress being in their districts again, although we're having a little bit of trouble finding some of them. But if you do get a chance to meet with your members of Congress, we made these little note cards to give you some tips on how to reach out and what to say when you get there. So while you're welcome your congressperson back to town, we have a couple of facts in mind so you know what your interests are. So have those facts in mind, have your stories ready to go, and then you want to meet with them or their staff and you want to just tell them and share your stories and tell them the reasons why it's important for them to follow your lead and to allocate resources to the things that you believe in. So that is this welcome your congressperson back. So next week, when your members of Congress are back in their congressional seats in DC, you're going to want to follow up with those meetings that you had by writing them a letter. And so there's some tips here that you can follow so that you can stay engaged with your members of Congress and you can become a resource for them. So the STAT team put this together. Thank you, Jillian, did an amazing job. And this is available on our Facebook page if you're interested. You can print it out and use it as a guide or just read it from online. But I'm going to go ahead and write a letter with you and we can just see how easy this actually is to stay engaged. So, a couple of things to keep in mind. From what I understand from past trainings that I've been part of, it's recommended that you can write it with a pen, give it that human touch. You're writing the letter, you're wanting to really appeal to folks on a human level. So go ahead and use your pens. If you have terrible handwriting, like my brother's, you can go ahead and just print it out. But you'll want to make your own stationery, or if you have some cool stationery that you like to use, feel free. I just whipped this little piece of stationery from the desk of Leanne for this demonstration. All right, so a couple things. You want to be sure you want to get to the point, you want to be concise, you want to be clear, and you want to use your best penmanship. So just remember that when you're writing the letter, you don't want to write the Declaration of Independence, right? You're just writing this one letter about this one thing, because this will encourage you to write more letters, right, when you get a response, and hopefully you're super successful. So right now, one of the things that is big on my mind is healthcare. So as you may or may not know, the House recently passed a repeal and replace of the Obamacare, and so they repealed and replaced it with the YWCA, which is the American Health Care Act. I have some really strong feelings about the fact that women need to have access and communities need to have access to good, affordable health care, and so that's what I'm going to write about today. And I'm going to include this little picture that the YWCA USA has on Facebook, so I'm going to include that in my letter as well. So I'm going to want to keep it really short, and the first thing is you want to be respectful, because these are folks that are elected and they are supposed to be working in our best interest. So you want to be respectful and be yourself. When I'm constructing my letter, I'm going to identify myself, and I'll mention where I work, who I am, what my interests are. If you can't mention where you work, you want to mention the fact that you're a constituent, that you're a voter, and that you are a concerned member of the community, right? You want to remind these folks who you are in very human terms. The next thing is, again, be polite. I know that there's a lot of friction happening right now and you're probably really angry. Do your best in these letters to be as polite as possible, because most of the time they're being opened by staffers who are really amazing human beings and are doing the best work that they know how. So be polite. So now that you're being polite, you also want to make sure that you use one or two facts, hardcore statistics, or facts from the newspaper. You want to back up whatever your concerns are. Really utilize these facts to bring it all home and kind of affect the heart, but also show that you're putting a lot of thought into and concern into these issues. And so that's going to be really helpful in constructing a good letter. You're also going to make sure that you want to ask for what you want, right? So if you want a response, if you want a phone call, if you want a letter back, if you want to see a vote, what do you want these folks to do? So you want to be really clear and really specific, okay? So don't be afraid to ask. Finally, you are a constituent, You are a neighbor, you are a community member. So you want to provide yourself as that resource for your senator, for your member of Congress, for your representative, to be able to call on you, to utilize you as an example, to be able to tell your story. So you really want to make sure that you are opening up those modes of communication with your members of Congress so that you can become a resource, so that they can utilize your stories later on, so they can have, so they can name, you know, back in my state, I have examples of these constituents who either do support or don't support X, Y, or Z. And so, you know, so you want to be able to be open enough so that you can engage in dialogue, because after all, that's what this is all about. It's about making sure that we're making opportunities for community building and that we're getting our points across. So we hope that this helps. We hope that you will start writing your letters and let us know how successful you are. Go ahead and comment. Thanks.